So we thought we'd come online to talk about one of our most recent completions, because actually I think it's a testament to kind of how the market is moving over the last sort of couple of years, indeed away from some of the corporates. So Julie acted on this particular on this particular sale. Did you just want to give us a bit of background on the practice maybe to start with?
Yes, so I was approached directly by the vendor's accountant, and I had a Teams meeting. Vendor was looking to sell a NHS ortho practice and just wanted some help, initial valuation on where to go and what type of buyer. And we just went from there, really.
Yeah, so I suppose the cut and thrust of this is that this particular orthodontic practice only had, was it 3 years left?
It just had 3 years left, on the ortho contract. So that was one of the sticking points, really, that we wanted to, address.
So I guess the vast majority of ortho sales over the last sort of 5 to 7 years have probably sold to one of the big 4 or 5 big corporates, some of whom, of course, are no longer in the market. And of course, then you've still got Portman Dentex and others who are. So now, as sort of part of the remit is we did a whole market launch and we did involve these particular parties. But I guess the interesting thing is that those particular parties came up with structured offers, didn't they?
They did, so your typical deferred based on the NHS, those sorts of things. So it was interesting to see the levels and the offers that came in really on it as well.
Yeah, so the structured offers, because again, this chap only had 3 years remaining on his Nash contract, it wasn't a typical 70-30 what you might otherwise expect.
Yeah.
In essence, this guy was only going to get 20% of the purchase price up front at the outset. Whereas actually, if you go out sometimes to the wider market, and I guess this is the bit that doesn't just apply to orthodontists, is that often for independent practices now, particularly those which are maybe seen as higher risk, so maybe if you've got a high gross in principle, or if you've got, say, a situation where there's maybe a bit of a tricky lease or something along those lines, a bit outside the ordinary, I think sometimes when you get to a bigger gross, the obvious thing is to go, oh, I'll talk to one of the big groups.
Absolutely.
But actually, I guess what was testament in this is actually the best deal came from someone who wasn't a group.
Yeah, absolutely. An individual that just ticked all the boxes. So real great alignment there.
Yeah, and it's not to say the deal wasn't without challenges. We had some challenges with bank valuation and with lawyers and bits and pieces all along the way, because, don't get me wrong, there were some protections built into the deal with regard to the NHS contract renewal. But I guess the point of the matter is that actually what there's also enabled is traditionally with a group, you would stay on for what, 3
years, minimum, really, wouldn't you?
Whereas actually this particular guy, actually, I believe, and the reason why we're recording this now, has just retired.
Yes.
So actually 3-4 months down the line, completed at the end of March, and we've now got a vendor with pretty much, most of the money in his pocket. If not, the balance will be released upon receipt of the NHS contract being extended. And he's fully retired. He's enjoying his retirement and he's had most of the money.